All right, boys, we went to Turkey to close a few SMMA clients, right? And the basic notion of that, however you want to call it, just marketing stuff, right? Trying to get other businesses more clients, and in my case, patients for plastic surgery clinics and dental dentists, right? Or hair transplantations. And recently, also interestingly, in IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. Now you're asking yourself, what the fuck is this Chinaman talking about? But IVF is actually something that you should look into if you're running a marketing agency because it's quite unsaturated. Actually, I shouldn't be telling you this right now because I would have more competition. So just forget that. It's basically helping to create babies artificially for those who have fertility problems, right? If you have a low sperm count or if you have like an egg that doesn't work. I don't know the biology behind it. I just do the marketing, right? So I know, like, I just when you do the marketing, you don't need to know the biology behind it. You just need to know what the patient knows, right? Which is a fuck ton of fear behind failure, failing of getting a baby and paying like $20,000 per try in the states. Fun fact: the average baby that's artificially made in the states is at $76,000, right? So if I can get an additional client for an IVF clinic in the states, it could mean a lot of money for them. And there are not a lot of marketers in this industry, which is amazing because I fucking hate competition, right? But yeah, back to the story how I ended up here in Turkey because my ass, like when I started running ads, I basically looked at all the gurus, did what they told me, and my cost per lead in the United States was so outrageously high that I shat myself and I just thought, okay, I cannot do this. I don't have the balls to deal with it because I was on a quite limited budget, right? Like 50 euros, like $60 or $40 per day was a lot for me, or 30 euros. And I just didn't have the balls to go through it. But so what I did is I first went to advertising in India, right? And that motherfucker dropped the cost per lead to like $1 to $2 and booked calls for like $30, $25. I was like, oh, juicy, so freaking juicy. But you know what happened? I didn't get a single Indian client because I completely underestimated the currency difference, right? If you're like, you cannot be charging Turkish, no, no, Indian clinics the same that you charge US clients or customers or clinics, whatever, right? It's just two different, completely two different markets because an Indian guy makes the like 1/10 of what the US guy makes, so it doesn't make any sense. So it was a big, very bad market. And for some reason, I wanted to try out, mental health stuff like ketamine therapy to help depression. So I went to like mental health hospitals and mental health like clinics, right? Psychiatrists. Yeah, don't change your verticals, boys. Lock into one vertical. And if that vertical is like the most dog shit thing ever, and like med spa, for instance, right, the most brutal, saturated SMM niche out there, because there are like 10 different YouTubers that are creating a lot of videos on YouTube that are getting impressions, and new people are trying to like force their way into the markets because they just want to copy what's already out there, what the gurus are already teaching. So don't do med spa and any of the saturated niches. Go deep, dive deep into blue ocean. That's one tip I would also have, learning from my experiences. Just go somewhere where the lifetime value of a patient is high or a client is high, over $1,000, and take into account, for the love of Christ, take into account the sales cycle, right? And do some like math around it, because if you have a client, right, and the lifetime value is high, like let's say $20,000 or $30,000, but you need 5 months to sell them, it averages out to the same as like a low ticket product of like $50, but you sell them in like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, right? So do the math on that. Be smart. I don't like math, even though I'm Asian, so I'm different, built different. But I ended up in Turkey because I launched ads in Turkey as well, and the cost per lead was incredibly low. I got some meetings booked with C-level executives in plastic surgery clinics. I got my first two free clients here, two clients here in Turkey. So I expanded and just went here just to close some more people because I realized that Turkish clinics don't have a lot of knowledge in running meta ads and the creativity necessary to stand out in the market. Everybody's just trying to compete on price competition, right? So find a market like that where you have a very pressing pain point that people want fixed, and fix their problem for them. Easy said than done, obviously. Just sharing my story because I went to Turkey yesterday, right? Today I had a meeting, went amazing. It was like a face-to-face meeting with the owner, two brothers, as well as the staff, right? And all of them are amazing. And I would like honestly make friends with all of them and just like not talk about work stuff as well, because my personality is a bit like extrovertism on steroids, like a social butterfly on steroids. I wasn't always that way, right? But yeah, if you're more introverted, I think it's an amazing exercise to move out of your comfort zone as well. Like going to a country to close a big client, I think is a pro gamer move, as they would call it, and just shows you have balls to take some risks, right? Um, and I think it is definitely also because I have to tell you, I got invited here, right? So I didn't come here with on a whim just to close a client. You need to have a high intent to go to another country to close a client, right? I got invited here out, but I see how in-person meetings, right? It's just the trust level is significantly higher, right? So if you are, for instance, in another country, and if opportunity allows, consider for a big client, right, who shows immense and just needs a bit of nudge to go over the line. And if you're starting out, go to another country to close them in person. Do that shit. It's gonna be worth it. You're gonna have an amazing story to tell, right, and potentially build some good connections. And these clients, right, they're gonna also not become just clients. They're gonna be friends, right? And friends help each other, and they will refer you if you do a good job. Be honest with them, transparent with them about all these AI programs. I just tell them what the fuck I'm using, you know? I don't try to gatekeep any of that shit, right? I even tell them, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, right? This is easy. Um, I can also teach you if you want. I'm just completely 100% brutally transparent with them because you wouldn't want to do business with somebody who lies to you, right? Like, think from your perspective. Um, so just be transparent with them because they don't have the time to deal with this shit anyways, right? That's why they hired you in the first place. So don't think that you're gonna get substituted. In fact, they're gonna love you for being one of the first fucking marketing agencies that actually has a personality and a soul, right? And that's trying like be different. But yeah, I just wanted to share some of my own thoughts and just document my journey. That's why I make these videos super fun. And also a bit of background for those introverts that are watching. Probably zero because I don't get any fucking views. But for those introverts that are watching, bro, I was like, I was the most introverted person I knew, and I just knew that I had like an extroverted fire in me that just, but in China I just didn't talk to anybody. Like when I talked to my first crush, I like almost peed my pants. I don't remember if I peed or not, but I think I peed my pants. Like slightly. Fuck, that's embarrassing to admit, but I don't give a fuck, right? Which is amazing because at one point you just don't care anymore. And it's like 3 years ago, so I don't really remember. But the point is, you can go from somebody who has basically zero social skills to somebody who has decent social skills, can go to another country and make some people laugh, make your clients friends, and do some business, right? It's possible. It's all possible. And as cringe as that motherfucker sounds, you gotta believe that you can do it. That's always the first step because I had issues and self doubt all my life, right? Motherfucker, I used to watch Hamza and think like, bro, like this guy is a fucking god. Like, how the fuck is he so confident on camera and can fucking make videos with his ex talking, like basically sharing intimate details with on their life, like it's just I looked up to him and I was like, fuck, bro, like I want to be that guy. And bro, it's completely doable. Um, have some balls. I'm telling that to myself as well. Gotta have some more balls. Every one of us, right?